Some games aren't just games. They become these legends, right? These shared cultural moments that kind of define a generation. But what happens when the relentless march of technology threatens to let those digital legends just fade away? Well, today we're going to dive into this incredible story of how a passionate community is hoisting the sails once more for a true classic. For millions of us, this image is instantly recognizable. Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag wasn't just another game, it was a phenomenon. When it dropped back in 2013, it just perfectly captured the freedom, the danger, and the romance of the golden age of piracy. It put you right there in a world that felt completely boundless and alive. And the thing that really made it stick with us was that world. You could literally sail from the bustling streets of Havana all the way to some hidden secret cove, and you'd never see a single loading screen. That feeling of total immersion, of pure exploration, that's a huge part of its enduring legacy. So let's talk about that. What was it about this pirate adventure that made it such a legend? And more importantly, why is that legacy worth fighting for, even over a decade later? The magic of Black Flag really was this incredible blend of real history and just exhilarating gameplay. The 18th century Caribbean was brought to life in such vivid detail, and the naval combat, man, it was absolutely revolutionary for its time. That combination created this unforgettable experience that has kept players like us coming back year after year. But here's the catch. The very technology that lets us revisit these classics is also, in a weird way, what's breaking them. Let's get into the ghost in the machine that's threatening to pull this masterpiece right under the waves. It doesn't make any sense, does it? You'd think a brand new, lightning-fast computer should run an old game perfectly, maybe even better. But in reality, it's kind of like trying to play a delicate vinyl record on a jet engine. The hardware is just way too fast for what the old software was ever designed to handle. The core of the problem is something called audio-visual desynchronization. Now, think of it this way. The game's code has an internal clock, and it was built to run at a certain rhythm, maybe 30 ticks per second, which matched the computers of its time. Your modern PC, it can run at over 144 ticks per second. It just completely overwhelms the game's old code, and everything falls out of step. It's like watching a badly dubbed movie, where the dialogue finishes long before a character even opens their mouth. It just shatters the immersion. And believe me, the problems go way deeper than just the audio. This table here kind of breaks it down. You get these unstable frame rates that can actually break the game's physics, which can lead to some hilarious but totally frustrating glitches like your ship suddenly launching into space. And on our modern widescreen monitors, the whole user interface can get stretched and distorted. These aren't just little annoyances, these are issues that can make the game almost unplayable. So with the official developers long gone, who steps in to save the day? The fans. That's who. This is where the story gets really good, because a dedicated community just refused to let this classic die. So how'd they do it? Well, they developed their own solutions. Look at this list. They tackled every single major issue. They created patches for frame pacing to get rid of that awful stutter. They built tools to resync the audio and video, and they made mods to support modern screens. They basically performed a digital surgery on the game to get its heartbeat back into a steady, playable rhythm. And it's so important to remember, this isn't some giant corporation. These are passionate individuals, digital preservationists, really, who are spending their own free time meticulously fixing these problems. And their fixes are often super easy to install, sometimes just dropping a few files into a folder. It's amazing. And their whole motivation is captured perfectly right here. It's not just about making the game run. It's about preserving the feeling, that cinematic flow, the emotional weight of the story, and the thrill of the gameplay, just as the original creators wanted us to experience it. This whole effort to save just one game, it actually points to a much, much bigger picture. It's all part of this wider movement that's all about the cultural importance of preserving our shared digital histories.
Seeing the original box art just takes you right back to 2013, doesn't it? And for its time, it was an absolute masterpiece. But what the fan community has managed to do is nothing short of a modern resurrection. They've breathed new life into this classic so it can be experienced properly today. And honestly, the difference is night and day. This comparison really shows you how dramatic the improvements are. The original was locked at a pretty choppy 30 frames per second on consoles. But today, with these community fixes, you can run it at a buttery smooth 60 FPS or even higher with support for 4K. The performance is optimized, that annoying input lag is gone, it makes a decade-old game feel remarkably fresh. And that all leads to this really powerful idea. These modding communities, they aren't just tinkering for fun. They've become the unofficial guardians of digital art. They are, in effect, the curators of a museum where the exhibits are these interactive worlds, and they're making sure those exhibits don't decay and disappear forever. At the end of the day, it really comes down to this. Without the tireless work of everyday fans, countless classic games would simply be lost to time, totally incompatible with the machines we use today. Their passion is the lifeblood of video game preservation. It's as simple as that. This whole situation makes you ask a much bigger question, doesn't it? As technology keeps charging forward, how are we going to protect our digital legacies? Who's responsible for making sure these culturally significant works, these games we love, stay accessible for future generations to experience? The work on Black Flag proves that where there's passion, there's always a way. And that leaves me with one final thought for you to chew on. What masterpiece from your past is fading away on modern hardware? What beloved digital world do you think the community should set its sights on preserving next?